All right. Hello again, adventures. And hold, please.
Uh,
I
Yeah.
had people in the wrong
Why
spots.
am I the only one that doesn't get body swapped?
Because
I
you're the first person in my window, and so since you joined relatively early, uh, in general, you're not going to change.
Well, I
However,
didn't join first though. Katie joined first.
yeah, but I move the windows around because
Oh,
that's
okay.
where your screen is. Anyway, hi everybody. Tech problems are fun. And welcome to another exciting episode of Traversing the Veil. This is one of my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me are all here, and that's nice.
We had technical issues of all kinds.
yes,
We're
all
just
kinds, many devices.
the trouble with computers. You see that they're very sophisticated idiots. Tom Baker,
Yes,
Fourth Doctor.
that and ID10T is a real thing.
So, yeah. Announcements. I think it's either today's the last day or it's finally over. But the Terry Pratchett Discworld TTRPG Kickstarter is either on its last few hours or it's done. And that's super cool. It was funded in like 20 minutes. So, big
It
surprise
has it
there.
has it has 15 hours to go.
15 hours. Oh, so it's still got a little bit more time. So if you haven't backed it yet,
Jesus
um,
Christ! Rounded up 2.7 million.
yeah, Burrs.
Damn.
They last night I went into one of my buddy's streams as they were trying to kind of distract from everything that was going on, and I go, "Well, I'm gonna have to say it. Everybody knows there's a massive event that is going on right now, and I have to talk about it. The Discworld Kickstarter RPG is really, really struggling right now. They have only made $2.5 million of their like $120,000 budget. We don't know what's going to happen. We should all go over and back it. So yeah, if you're unfamiliar, Terry Pratchett is an author. The Discworld series is a beloved fantasy series that has this amazing wit and kind of charm to it. And they're now turning it into a tabletop RPG that people seem really, really excited about. It has. It's officially licensed because I think, if I remember correctly, I think Terry Pratchett passed away a little while ago, or at least he stopped writing books. I know
I
that.
believe he passed away.
But it is the company that's making it is partnering with either his estate or him or whoever owns the rights to his books
He
are
passed away in
partnering.
2015.
Yeah. So his estate or whoever owns the rights to the books are partnering with the company to create something that people are going to be excited
I think it's
about.
his daughter.
So yeah, it looks like it's going to be cool. I have not really looked. I don't know if they've really talked much about the mechanics of the system in and of itself, but I'm a fan of new tabletop RPGs in general. So that's really cool.
So much
Last
so, tune in December.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Last week, the Welcome to Night Vale TTRPG successfully reached its funding goal. It technically reached its funding goal within a few hours, anyways, but it ended its backer kit, so that's going to be a thing. The estimates right now is backers will start getting like digital copies next summer. So that'll be something really cool. It's a new Essence 20 base system. If you're unfamiliar, Essence 20 is the people that do Power Rangers, or it's the system that powers Power Rangers, GI Joe, Transformers, and the My Little Pony TTRPG. So this will be the first time it is used for a property not owned by Hasbro. So that'll be cool. And I love the Essence 20 system in general. It's massively fun. We've played it on this channel. I have one of my Power Rangers here with me. So yeah, that's very, very cool. Then the other announcement next month, every December I do a thing called Daily December where I make a video every day of the month, and I always try to do new things. And for the past few years, I try to do a new. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh no.
Or not. I try to do something new and different. And this year, I decided I wanted to do a Metroid-themed campaign because of the announcement for Metroid Prime 4. And a few months ago, I finally settled on a system that we're going to be using. We're going to be using the Lancer tabletop RPG for it, which is technically a giant anime-inspired mech tabletop RPG. But we're going to treat the mechs as power suits, and we're going to run a Metroid themed campaign. The cast has been finalized. So yeah, starting Monday, because Wednesday is both Christmas and New Year's this year. So starting Monday, December 2nd, I think it is, we will be doing a session 0 for the campaign where everybody will make their characters. We will kind of clarify everything in the campaign. And then for the 4 Mondays after that in the month of December, we will play this new campaign, which should be a lot of fun. Lancer is a really interesting system. The cast is going to be really cool. Imp is one of the players. A few people from my other campaign are going to be joining us. And my good buddy Elias is going to be joining us as well, because it's Metroid. And I went, Elias, can you join us, please? So,
I know your thing.
it's what you do. So
It's also going to be the first Metroid musical. Don't tell Elias.
Yep. Yeah, people don't realize Lancer.
I'm ready to roll.
A lot of the mechanics in Lancer involve breaking out into song. It's weird. So yeah, if that excites you, definitely tune in. It does mean that Wednesday nights this channel will be dark, because I will be streaming on Mondays instead. Yeah. Anything else happening in the world that has nothing to do with the events that have
Absolutely nothing at
recently
all.
transpired? Because we're just not talking about that today.
Moving on.
Please no.
I've played
you
a
know,
lot
you
of
know.
Dragon Age the Veilguard. It's a fun game. Yeah. Oh, the new Pokemon mobile game came out, and
Oh
it's
yeah, TCG Pocket.
it's a game.
Yeah, it's a Pokemon TCG game.
It's very different. It doesn't play like the Pokemon TCG. I find that fascinating. But
Yeah.
whatever. I've played a few rounds in it. It's okay. I've not played a live human being. We'll see.
Yeah.
Geek and Sundry did a review of it. I found humorous because they had the host of their Pokemon TCG show do this little shorts review of it, and it was basically, it's nice for collectors, but if you're looking for something that's going to allow you to play the Pokemon TCG, you should probably play the Pokemon TCG, because this isn't it. It's still fun, still interesting. It's just kind of like baby's first TCG kind of feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, unless we have other announcer moments, I think it's time for us to return to Traversing the Veil. Exelos has fallen. The party, after scouting the area where they were hired to assassinate a dignitary before they could have the real meeting, suddenly realized that plans had changed. The meeting had been moved up. And so they decided their best course of action was to gather as much information as possible. So Spengwick sent Spitwit into the inn that the meeting was happening in to spy and to gather information. And what they discovered chilled them to the bone. The sovereignty was looking to open up diplomatic relations with the large beholder dragon that had been unleashed from the Fading Isles. The representative, a death tyrant beholder, seemed amused that the sovereignty thought they could negotiate. And in order to save his own life, the dignitary offered the population of Exelos as a sacrifice to the beholder. After the dignitary ran away, the party realized as legions of beholders started ripping apart this city, it was in their best interest to leave. And they were told by Esmiel to meet at the fountain, and were given a strange device. Esmiel was critically wounded in the retreat, but the party was able to activate the device, and once it activated, there was a bright flash of light, and then they suddenly were no longer in Exelos. Or at least they weren't in the sovereignty. Bits and pieces of the city seemed to transport with them, and the city itself looked like a ruin. As Arai looked around, she felt very familiar as she noticed they were indeed in the Feywild. Suddenly, a pair of Eladrin came around, which Arai recognized as her parents, carrying a very small young child on one of their hips. And that is where we return.
He is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can't find my paper. Where did my paper go?
Paper!
Hey, you guys.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so oh, I like this ambience.
Ooh.
This is nice.
Inanath. So, to remind me specifically, when we last played, you guys showed up in the Verdant Empire, otherwise known as the Feywild.
Yep.
Looked around, saw that the city that you were in ruins, and then a blade singer and a ranger kind of showed up.
Yep.
Pointed a sword at you, and Arai said, "Dad?"
Dad?
Mm-hmm.
Or if we want to do the Star Fox meme, Father? And that was right where we cut to black, right? Like,
Yep.
nothing else has happened? Okay.
Correct.
So, as you say, Dad, you see something that you've seen 100 times before. You've actually sparred with your father, and he has specifically taught you this particular skill. It's a unique skill that he developed, but if you're not aware of it, it is a nearly impossible to stop disarm. And so you watch as he starts up his blade song. And your father's blade song in and of itself is fascinating because your father is a relatively well-built individual. And so you wouldn't immediately think of him as graceful. He looks very strong and forward. And he immediately starts moving in this rhythm to a song that you can't hear. And starts moving and moving his very agile sword around. And he moves so quickly that if you hadn't seen this 100 times before, you would have been completely taken off guard. And he gets to the point where he gets very close to you and then kind of steps around with the attempt of literally taking the weapon that you're holding, kind of twirling it around his blade and flinging it off. And again, you've not only seen him use this many, many times to embarrass very headstrong blade singers even, but he's done it to you while you're sparring. And so because you recognize it, I'm going to ask you, what do you want to do?
Respond like we're sparring.
Okay,
And then laugh if I'm successful.
sure. So since you are familiar with this move, why don't you give me an attack roll with advantage?
Okay.
It's like Riker and his dad when they were in the holodeck. That's an illegal move!
21.
21. You know what? I just realized I should probably
Otherwise,
make a roll
it would have
too.
been 16.
Ooh.
So, thank you, advantage.
Yeah. Okay. So he comes around. He gets very close, and then basically just steps behind your lead foot to kind of use torque and everything like that to knock you off balance, and then he would get his rapier underneath whatever weapon you have and literally twist it out of your hands. You've seen this 100 times, and so knowing exactly what's going to happen, you let him get behind you, and as he starts to kind of put his thigh underneath yours and use his hips to kind of pop your hips up and get you off balance, you just tumble backwards, grabbing your pike right as he attempts to twist it, and switch the torque instantly, and his rapier is ripped out of his hands as you just kind of cartwheel backwards, stick the pike in the ground, and then total like Wesley from The Princess Bride, just shunk.
What the hell, Dad?
And he, again, if you didn't know him, you wouldn't catch it. For the briefest moment, he is completely perplexed. And then he very quickly rights himself, and you see him starting to mouth the words for Thunderwave.
Oi.
And
Right, drops the rapier and hides behind Mom.
well, Mom's on the other side of the clearing right now. So as he attempts to,
Right, starts running. Mom! He's trying to kill me again!
If he's about to cast...
yeah, he's
if I
going to cast Thunder.
counterspell.
Okay, cool. So as he begins to cast Thunderwave, the counterspell goes off, and things get very, very tense very quickly. Suddenly, Smegwick, you feel, you feel, that feeling of like you're getting watched, and you hear the sound of a bow being drawn taut. And you see the woman who still has a baby on her hip, kind of Bjorn strapped to her, has pulled a magnificent looking recurve longbow and has it trained on you with a really vicious looking arrow on it. And she just goes, "Why don't you try that again?"
Whoa, 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 whoa! Wrong foot, wrong foot! And I say in Sylvan, no one hears an enemy. I say that in Sylvan several times.
So, Arai, your father goes. He kind of looks over and he hears the goblin speaking Sylvan, and he looks very confused. And he looks over to Arai. "All right. Who are you, and where did you learn that?"
Well, I learned it from you, and I'm Arai.
I learned it from you, Dad.
I learned it from you. And he looks at you like
Same brain cell.
Wait, Dad, how old am I right now?
he is really confused.
Is that me with Mom over there?
Getting more confused, and he reaches his hand out and just kind of and again, this is another thing that you've seen 100 times, where he just reaches his hand out and gives you that look of, okay, fun's over, give me my sword back.
Is Esmiel still holding the magical device? Yes.
Esmiel is, at this point, Esmiel is almost unconscious. And the device is next to her. She doesn't have the strength to hold it anymore.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Mick?
She came with us.
Yes, she did come with us because we made sure she did survive. So.
Yep.
Oh shit! Time travel, wounded party. Time travel, wounded party.
What?
And as your mother kind of looks around, she releases the tension in the bow, kind of puts the bow and the arrow back, and immediately goes over and starts casting Cure Wounds on Esmiel. And your father, if you'd be so kind as to remind me of their names, because I know we talked about it.
We did, and I'm pulling up my backstory again now because I was about to say one of their names and forgot myself.
Oh, good. I don't feel as bad.
I was ready by the last time, but now
Just wait until you hear what Smegma's parents' names are.
Dad is Cedrio and Mom is Nindy.
Okay. So Cedriel and Lindy?
Nindy.
Nindy. Thank you. So, Cedriel looks at you, and he's now getting impatient, so he goes to just grab his rapier from you. And unless you resist in some way, he takes it and kind of gives you a look and puts his sword away and then comes over. Nindy, we need to figure out what's going on. Maybe you and Arai should head back to the base camp, and I will deal with this. So
Mom, where's our base camp? He's gonna walk up and just like start talking because he said Arai, like he's talking about adult Arai.
And as you start to move,
around,
move towards Nindy, Cedriel kind of goes, "Stop! Will you just stop? All right? No. You go over there."
Smegwick says under his breath, "Yeah, get used to this, pal."
And Arai's gonna slowly walk over and kind of give him give Mom the sad eyes as he's walking away.
Mom, Dad's being mean.
Mom says.
They both look like they both are getting more and more uncomfortable the longer this goes on. And Nindy goes, "Cedriel, she's wounded extremely badly. If we move her, there's a chance that we could rupture something internally. I can't move her." "That's wonderful, Nindy, but we don't know who she is. And we have other things to focus on," as he nods towards Arai. "Oh, she's fine. Or he's fine, sorry. He's fine. Look, he's enjoying himself." And little baby Arai is then goes up and grabs her nose. And Nindy just kind of brushes him away. And Cedriel's like, "Woman, you are going to be the death of me. All right, the rest of you, who the hell are you, and what are you doing here? We have salvage rights and exploration rights to this ruin. So if you thought you were going to get some kind of payday, you are wrong."
I'm gonna show you, he shows, because that woman was very quick on the draw with her bow. And I'm gonna do an illusion. And he does minor illusion, and he casts the tableau that we all piece together.
Okay.
Is this at all related to what you're doing?
No.
Okay, it's worth a shot. You will.
All right. What happened?
Time travel. Points to the device.
Sure. Totally. That's incredibly believable.
No,
Well-
Dad. No, Dad.
Stop
It's like,
calling
sorry,
me that.
What do I call you?
You
Last
know
time
your
I
father.
called-
Know
last
your
time I
father's
called-
name.
Last time I called him his name, I got in trouble.
My name is Cedriel.
Cedriel. Dad. Cedriel, Dad.
At least you're not calling him.
Arai is just having this internal conflict. It's like, you don't call your dad by his first name. You get in trouble.
You only do that when you're going through your teenage phase and you're
He is gonna
you're
pop
pushing
me.
shit.
We got all this going on,
I'm
and we are like
technically still in
inches
my
away from
TA.
causing a paradox right here.
Yeah.
I'm technically still in my teenage years compared to my parents, so or for Eladrin in general, I'm not that old. So
Time travel is possible, Cedriel.
Today's
So-
episode is brought to you by John Hughes.
So, Cedriel,
So keep saying it under your breath.
She did. He did.
it's the same. Think of it like we came from another ruin, which we don't know what point in history they come from. We just happen to have an artifact that brought us to this ruin at this particular time to meet you and baby me.
And he looks to be getting more and more frustrated. I've been doing this for a long time. Never. And I know ruin hunters that have been doing this for centuries. A few of them that have been doing it for over a millennia. Never in the history of rune hunting has anyone ever shown up in a vanishing room. They're always completely empty. We don't even find skeletons of people in it unless they happen to die while it was there.
I know, and I understand that. Like, you taught me all this stuff, but Smegwick, can you describe how it's our fault but not our fault at the same time?
No, because you're always telling me it is our fault.
Well, that's why I want you to explain that it's not our fault part, so that my dad doesn't think I am destroying the future.
And so, while this is all happening, you suddenly see a hand appear on Cedriel's shoulder. And you watch him tense and then notice whose hand it is and immediately kind of relax. And you hear said, I think what would be best is we all go back to base camp. We have something to eat. And we discuss this like rational beings.
Is she safe to move now? I can assist with that.
Well, there's not really a whole lot more I can do here. I'm not a particularly gifted healer. I just generally know enough how to keep him from dying.
Oh, you get better at it, trust me. I give you lots of practice.
Okay, I heard we're moving her, so give me 10 minutes, and he's going to start ritual casting Tensor's floating disc.
Okay?
That way we can try and transport Esmiel.
And once Tensor's floating disc is there, she goes, Ooh, honey. Yes? We need to definitely think about getting someone on the crew that can do that. Because do you know how useful this would be in moving non-living things? Like large amounts of treasure?
Like crates and stuff, believe me, that's the reason why I learned it.
Many, many boxes.
Lindy, we will deal with this later. I'm just saying, this is a fantastic use, and I don't know why we've never thought to use it. Like, how many times have you thrown your back out and I've had to use lesser restoration so you could make it out because you just had to have that extra bit of gold? Nindy,
Because you guys aren't
later.
popular yet.
Reggie just pulls out a bag of popcorn out of nowhere, and he's just
Yay.
watching this little parental feud.
Spitwit is
Allie-
going to fly up, land on Nindy's shoulder, and basically get the transmission of he doesn't like to listen, does he?
Nindy, at first being a little bit taken aback that something landed on her shoulder, and you watch, again, faster than you think should be possible. There's a dagger that almost makes its way up to Spitwit before the communication happens. She goes, and she kind of looks at you. Does this one belong to you?
Yes, he's also a bit of an asshole, but please don't kill him. It's expensive resummoning him.
Perhaps you should go over there. Go on. She puts her dagger back away, and she goes, all right, everyone, this way. By the way, step only where we step. This ruin has not been fully mapped, and, well, there's dangerous things on the way here. So, this way! And she just starts kind of walking.
Oh, good.
Alright,
I have to follow them so that because the desk can follow us. Great.
Alright's gonna turn. Make sure you only step where my mom steps, because my dad is angry right now.
I think we gathered
I
that.
heard her.
No, don't follow my dad right now. He will trick you. It will hurt.
Oh.
So,
I was going to follow your mom anyway.
as you guys make it through the river ruin, you do notice that it seems a significantly larger portion than the area that was engulfed in light of Exelos is here. But it's still pieces and bits. And as you're looking around, like, you can see, like, it's very obvious to you where the beholder damage is. Like, this is literally a snapshot of a decent quadrant of the city that was transported here in the exact position it was in when you guys were being attacked by all these beholders.
So this looks like our city?
Yes, this is, you are in you're in pieces of Exelos. Yeah, like the fountain is still there, though it's in pieces and the things like that. And you guys are eventually able to go past the ruins of the chicken shop, or what's left of it. Like, it's a pretty decent chunk of Exelos.
Is it busted, or is it like covered in moss and vines?
It's ruined. It very much looks like ruins, but as you looks like somebody took the city that you were in the middle of the attack, put it somewhere, and then left it for a few centuries.
I was going to say, so is there like moss and leaves and, and vines and stuff? Okay.
Yep. Which again is very, very strange, because again, you can see all the damage that literally just happened to it now also has moss and vines growing on it, which doesn't make sense to you. And Arai, you yourself, the size of Vanishing Runes varies greatly. Sometimes it's like a single house. Sometimes it's a kind of decent size, maybe like the size of a small village. This is quite possibly the largest Vanishing Rune you have ever seen. It's much, much larger than anything that you visited, that you can remember visiting with your family before you left. So it takes you guys the better part of about 2 hours to get to the point where, after you actually leave the ruins, it's another like 20 or 30 minutes to get to the actual base camp.
Do we know where they're leading us, like city-wise?
They're taking you, because the part of the city that you guys were in, the fountain was in the kind of northeast quadrant of the city, and they're basically taking you south. So the camp that you guys set up, probably just coincidentally, is actually pretty close to where the military tent was, where Reggie was taken and that officer got chewed out, if you remember that interaction.
Yeah.
It's actually remarkably similar to that place, but the city ruins stop well before you get there. So Yeah, as you get there, you can see, and again, Arai, you're familiar with how all this stuff works, but you notice that a lot of the people you remember going with your parents simply aren't there. At this particular point, it is just your mother, your father, and you can see a person that you don't recognize, but is obvious to you. They're a cartographer, which was very, very common. By the time that you were adventuring with them, you guys had a cartographer that just worked with you guys all the time. But the kind of standard practice for doing Vanishing Runes is you would hire a cartographer, and the ruins hunters would go in and make sure things were safe, and the cartographer would come in and actually make maps of it so you could figure out where to search for stuff. So the cartographer is there, and they look absolutely perplexed. The cartographer themselves is a I have completely drawn it. What are the cat people?
Tabaxi.
Is a Tabaxi woman. And as you could come in, she kind of looks up, and she has like sextants and compasses and all these other things kind of laid out to start her preliminary mapping. And she sees the people that hired her coming with a significantly larger group, and she goes, "Oh, this is very weird. Why are there so many more of you now? I do not remember this many people leaving."
Time travel.
And she just looks at you.
I know what I said.
Nindy just goes, why don't you get the fire going? I'm gonna make something for us to eat. And you see her kind of ruffle her nose a little bit, and Arai, you know,
She's mad.
well, you know that your mother can cook, but your father is the one that normally cooks, and he's very, very good at it.
Uh-oh.
Your mother won't kill you with her cooking, but it's just not one of her particular skills.
Nindy?
And she kind of looks at you really weird. Yes?
Can we do the cooking for us? For you? Or did Cedriel?
And she just looks really, really weird at you for just the inability of you to pronounce relatively, like, Nindy and Cedriel are not uncommon Eladrin names. Like, it's not like they're... She's just looking at you like, these are not hard things to say, and you're obviously Eladrin. She goes, if you would like, we have some supplies here. If you would like, obviously, are you? And she kind of looks at Smegwick and just goes, "Are you familiar with Feywild food and the
Briefly.
things that are edible and aren't, and things that will eat you that look edible?"
Way more of the latter on that one part, but yeah.
Lovely.
I can assist with this campfire, by the way. Just like you'll offer to like do a prestidigitation to like.
I did help my dad in cook when I was younger. Perhaps I can take over. It's not the best. It's not as good as his, but it's edible.
Okay, I guess we'll do that. Said, and he's still kind of fuming. Why don't, while we're preparing dinner, it's been a long day, why don't you just take a nap for maybe 20 minutes? I'm sure they'll be able to tell us everything that's going on over dinner. And you can see that kind of conflict in your father's eyes, where it's like, it's obvious Mom is trying to do something in my best interest, but I don't wanna. I like being mad right now.
You can come and help me cook too if
He just gives you a
Feel
death
like it.
stare, and then
Okay.
goes into the tent.
I got you, Mom.
So
I know how to work my dad.
Come on, let's go prepare dinner.
So, Smegwick, the field kitchen that they have is actually remarkably robust. Like they have, it's more than just a rack you put over the fire and like a single pot or something. Like they have a decent amount of different cookware, and they have a prep station set up, and like it's not a full kitchen, but it's damn good for something that's made to be portable. And you have very little problem, cooking up a meal and everything. And it'll take you about half an hour to be able to cook everything up. During that time, Nindy has transported Esmiel from the Tensor's floating disk to a cot in one of the tents. And she's been doing some kind of basic, like tending to wounds and stuff like that. What do the rest of you guys want to do for the half an hour it takes for Smegwick to cook your meal?
Well, Smegwick don't need some help because Smegwick don't know cooking.
Oh,
That's
Arai's cooking.
that's Rowan.
Oh, yeah.
Arai's
I
cooking.
was confused the two characters. Okay, so yeah. So Arai, you were kind of
I
helping.
wish.
You were kind of helping our... Smegwick starts off, and you can see Smegwick has no idea what he's doing. And so Arai, you very quickly kind of come and go, I got this.
I
And
can
Smegwick-
do some. I can do some assistance. I'll do like the campfire prep and all that. I do lean over to Orion and I go like, right. Sage whisper. Is there a dish that your dad taught you how to cook?
Yeah, he taught me how to cook in general. My mom can't cook.
Okay, okay. So did your dad teach you how to make his favorite dish?
Yes, but I'm not good at making it.
Go for it anyway.
Do we have the ingredients to make my dad's favorite dish?
Yeah, Dad's kind of a meat and potatoes kind of guy, so he's a big fan
Okay.
of anything that has a lot of meat in it and a lot of flavor.
Okay.
So his
He's one of
favorite
those
dish.
guys who's all about the spices
Yeah.
with
His-
just the meat and potatoes.
his
Don't
favorite
screw
dish,
up my steak, Derry.
His favorite dish tends to be like steak or roast or something similar to that, with a like really hearty, like maybe a mushroom soup, like a mushroom stew side, or a potato side, something like that. That's just, it'll stick to your bones. Lots of protein, lots of starch. Those tend to be his favorite dishes.
I love how we're talking about like big hearty lumberjack meals and we're listening to like fucking spa music here.
Well, you're in the Feywild. It's just a
Wild.
giant spa
Yes.
Hey,
until
Reggie,
it's
how
not.
about-
Chocolate magic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Reggie,
wait until
how
it's a
about
fucking
you-
nightmare, pal, and you're running for your life.
So why don't
Yeah.
you make me a performance check, Arai? And with Smegwick's help, I'll give you advantage on it.
Well, it's either 18 or 18.
Okay. So we'll go with that. The meal itself kind of goes together pretty well. They had some venison. It seems like they had recently hunted some deer. And so you had really, really fresh venison that you were able to butcher without too much difficulty, and get some nice venison steaks out of it. And you cook it over low heat and things like that to make sure it doesn't get too tough, and it's always medium rare because otherwise it's leather. And there's a bunch of wild mushrooms and some root vegetables that you're not 100% certain what kind of root vegetables they are, but
They're probably safe if Dad has put them on the kitchen table.
yeah. They have a flavor that's kind of similar to a like rutabaga, And so mixing it with the mushrooms and some spices, you make this really nice kind of mushroom and root veggie stew to kind of go with everything. And as far as you can tell, it looks great. It smells really, really good. While that is going on, Reggie and Owie,
Oh, no.
do you guys have particular things that you want to do, or are you just going to wait for dinner and kind of sit there awkwardly, like, you know, the first time meeting the parents, you're like, so your
Typically in
daughter's
a-
nice.
Typically, in a setting like this, Reggie would want to bust out his violin to maybe
Yeah.
make the atmosphere a bit more pleasant. But something tells me that if he tries to do that here, it's not going to be that well received. So Reggie is actually going to willingly just sit patiently and just kind of look around.
Yeah, Owie's probably gonna do the same thing and try to comprehend what's going on.
Okay.
And Reggie leans over to Owie. This is a very nice encampment. I love the decor here.
Yeah. I wonder how far back in time it traveled.
Well, looking at the ruins, it might be just.
Well, apparently the ruins made it here. Oh, sorry, I'm not there. I'm helping cooking.
Yeah, I mean, how old is Ronnie?
Yeah, how is it that we went back into the past, but the ruins look like they're in the future? But then, did we go into the future? But then that would mean that this would be Arai's past, but then this would be the future, and
It'll beat a blood surge go down your
a
nose.
tiny little nosebleed.
Roll for aneurysm.
Hemorrhage.
I am willingly gonna give myself just 1 point of psychic damage for that.
So, after the meal is prepped, Nindy goes over and gives everyone a plate and just goes, well, go ahead and help yourself. And she kind of disappears in the tent, and she comes back out, and Cedriel looks significantly less pissed off. Like, it looks a lot more relaxed. He smells the food, and he seems really excited. And now the dad that you're familiar with starts to come out a little bit more. He kind of steps back and encourages everyone else to get their food first, and he just kind of acts as the host. And then once everybody has food, he goes and makes himself a plate, and he sits down. Says
Quick prayer.
quick prayer to the nurturing gardener, and then just goes, dig in, and just starts eating.
Where's
Thank
baby
you very
Arai?
much.
Baby Arai is Baby Arai is crawling around on the camp floor because Nindy Arai started kind of fussing about halfway through dinner prep, and so Nindy just kind of fed him earlier, and so now he's just kind of crawling around and exploring various places in the camp.
If they're cool with it, I think Spitwit will be playing with Baby Arai.
As Spitwit comes over, the first thing Baby Arai does is grab him by the tail
Oh.
and just start, and Nindy's like, no, soft, and Nindy kind of comes over and goes, see? Soft.
He
And-
goes, soft.
We do not gnaw on our kitty, mini-me.
So, it seems at this particular stage of growth, Arai has not quite learned the finer intricacies of dealing with pets.
Yeah.
And so, if Spitwick decides to remain there, Spitwick is probably going to have a slightly unpleasant time. Arai's not going to, permanently hurt him or anything, but he's going to be a little bit rougher than.
I think he was inquisitive, and then he'll sit on the table. He'll lick the tail to try and tease the Baby Arai.
Okay. So, Arai is
The baby.
yeah, Baby Arai is fascinated with Spitwick for about 2 minutes.
Yep.
And
That's a long time.
Then discovers other things in the camp.
Babies.
So after
Some people don't grow out of that, do they?
Say what's over there.
Certain people just wander off all the friggin' time, don't they, or I?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
and it's a completely normal thing for an adult to do.
We explore and then we reconvene, sending messages letting each other know that we are alive.
So, Cedril is eating, and after he gets probably about a quarter way through his steak, he turns to the rest of you. He's like, "So, are we going to? Are you going to explain exactly what in the hell's going on here?"
Hold up, just a second. And he's gonna go over. He's gonna we know we brought the device. Like, he's gonna put the device, making sure he can put it on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Put it down. This brought us back. Believe it or not, this is okay. Are you familiar at all with the Tempest Sovereignty?
I mean, we've been at war with them for a few hundred years.
Okay.
They have.
Has it been going on that long?
Yeah. At this point, the war has been going on for like 600 or 700 years.
Ow.
When you have planes of existence fighting against each other, things can get prolonged.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I think it looks like. Wait, how many? A couple hundred? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's depressing. Anyway, well, believe it or not, these. Okay, I don't know how this works out. This is Exelos. These ruins are Exelos. This is our city. That place down over there was our chicken shop.
Well, you guys are far enough away. Like, you're 20 minutes outside of the ruins.
Yeah,
Okay.
we passed our chicken shop a little while ago. That used to be that over there. We passed over there.
So you all lived in a ruined city.
No, that's what I'm
No.
telling you.
So when we were there, it was not a ruin. It was very much alive.
And it was being attacked by beholders. A lot of beholders.
All right. Let me get this straight.
There's a beholder dragon.
Really? Oh, even better. So, what you're telling me is...
And apparently a giant talking skull thingy.
Lich skull. Lich beholder. Beholder
You
lich.
guys are
Now, what
Sorry,
they
sorry. Hold on.
our case.
Sorry.
So, you guys were able to figure out time travel
I didn't say we figured it out.
No.
and decided
It
to
just
use
sort of
time
happened.
travel to travel here while also transporting your city here, but then covering it in vines and moss and other things that normally cover most of the Vanishing Ruins. And the reason
No.
why is a beholder dragon and a bunch of beholders were attacking it.
No.
What? No.
Hold on.
Esmiel was the one who was working the device. I don't know how she was working it. She was the one who was working it. I
Okay.
think timey-wimey stuff happened.
So we didn't know what would happen after the device was activated.
It's basically safe to say that Esmail did everything. We were just caught up in it accidentally.
We were fending beholders off.
So what you're saying is you found a device, you didn't know what it did, and then you just decided to use it.
Are
We
you
did it.
surprised, Dad?
Esmail did.
Cedriel?
And
So
what is
it
with
was-
this dad
It is. Hold on.
thing?
Sorry. Hold on. It was the safer option than dying to a bunch of beholders, escaping the city. This device, for all we knew, was going to allow us to escape the city. We knew, like, it had nothing to do with time that we were aware of. So we have no idea how we got here at this particular moment in time. We don't know how the ruins of the city that you saw as ruins, is part of the city that we were in at the time that we used the device. So the only thing we used this device for was to attempt to leave the city. Because we were told that it could take us, what were we told, Smegwick? You guys? That it would take us somewhere that
We're
it
told
would.
it would get us out of here. That was about it.
Yeah.
Well, Esmiel was literally using her last moments of consciousness to try and get that thing to work.
So, if we could figure out time travel, oh, there's so many things I would do for us. But it's not. That's not how it worked, and that's not what happened. But a beholder dragon was released and started to essentially take over all of the world.
That's not a thing. Beholders and dragons are two very different creatures, and beholders don't reproduce like normal, like they dream new beholders into being. They don't mate. They don't create offspring and hybrids.
Correct. It bubbles out of their skin.
Minor illusion. He's going to draw a little 5-foot model of Corey Alstrax.
It's very nice.
This is the Beholder Dragon Corey Alstrax.
And again,
in one of the ruins Cedriel, in one of the ruins that we go to, we are going to find a painting that is of this.
Girl.
And suddenly Nindy comes in and again, puts her hand on his shoulder. The wounds that I think you called her Esmiel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The wounds that she has are consistent with a beholder bite.
Yes, we know. We were fighting beholders. And undead beholders.
And Cedriel just kind of... This is a lot to deal with. Time magic in general is outlawed for good reason. And what's with all this dad stuff?
So...
Do you have a birthmark or something?
I'm Arai. That is baby me.
And he just looks at you. He's like,
I think the reason why we ended up here is because it was something to do with the fact that I was there and here, and we got connected.
This is so confusing.
Arai's gonna take out his pike because his parents gave him the pike, and I'm willing to bet they had engraved something on it for him.
Sure,
like,
and so
if lost, return to Arai. Love mom.
they have little like name tags kind of sewn into it, like you know, kids that went to summer camp with name tags in their underwear.
If lost, call this number.
He goes, it's lovely, and it's a very nice pike, but that is my son, and he's 6 months old.
Wow, I was big at 6.
Oh, look at your little cheeks.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, that's cute.
My understanding of childhood development is very, very limited. When did kids
If
start
we're crawling
Is it
around,
9?
probably about 1.5.
1.5. Okay.
If he's crawling around and interacting with objects in his environment, he's probably about 1.5.
Okay. So he's only about 1.5 years. And he doesn't do that really annoying thing where they just keep listing them as a number of months until the number gets too high. No, it's 1.5 years. It's not like 15
He's
months.
36 months.
Oh god, I hate that.
Yeah, he's
makes
427 months.
It makes sense for developmental milestones, but not for years. Anyway.
So he goes, he's barely 1.5 years old, and you're telling me that you're him.
Yes.
I know it's a lot to take in.
I can tell you stories that you told me. How I was able to take your rapier from you, you taught me how to do that.
It could have just been luck.
No, let's do it again. Come here. I'm going to teach you the things that you taught me, and I'm going to teach them just like you taught me.
All right. He draws his sword. He kind of gets up, stretches, kind of cracks his neck. And Nindy goes over and just kind of picks up baby Arai, puts him on her knee, and just kind of bounces him. Goes, look, Daddy's going to have fun.
I was gonna sit with them and let Baby Rai play with her tail.
Again, a bit
Baby
rough.
Arai is strong.
That's a baby
Baby Arai
though.
is strong.
Yeah.
Not Bam Bam strong.
Tails can be sensitive. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Reggie's gonna sit on
You
the
ever
other side,
grabbed a cat's tail?
and if the baby gets bored with the tail, he's gonna do his own little minor illusions to do like little sparkles.
Okay. So, you guys step away from the camp far enough that any collateral damage won't actually affect the camp. And he draws his blade, shakes it out, salutes, gets into his fighting stance. So why don't you teach me something, kid?
Okay. Cedriel.
So he sits there,
It's so weird.
and
You're
again,
so young, and Mom is cute. Like, good job.
You are
again,
not Marty McFly. Stop.
No,
if
but I look like my mom, so of course my mom's cute.
if you
We
didn't
need,
know
we need a
him,
cleric therapist.
he looks very, very relaxed and like not ready to fight at all. Like his quote unquote fighting stance, like his rapier's kind of resting on the ground. He's just kind of looking at you. But again, you know this. Like this is a really, really common trick that he pulls on, specifically when he duels blade singers, because blade singers in general are kind of high and mighty.
Yep.
They think very highly of themselves, and so he's
Yep.
developed this ready stance that looks insultingly casual. And so he just sits there and he's like,
So before Arai gets into his stance to initiate it, he's gonna say, I've got very bad news for you. Little Arai and myself, we're not very good blade singers. That's the pike. Okay. He goes and gets in position.
all right.
Yeah, you.
So again, he just,
I'm sorry. I
he's
got
waiting for you.
Smegwick's guy, summon a flump.
So he's waiting for you. You get the first move here. What do you want to do?
Arai's gonna get in a defensive position.
All right. So as he sits there and going, "This is what I taught you. Just stand back and wait for it."
No, but I know you. Try to break this stance. This is something that you did teach me to deal with arrogant blade singers such as yourself.
Okay.
Now I can be an ass to my dad.
Ooh.
Let's just see how much we can piss off Dad. Give me just a couple seconds here.
Roll a
I
piss
have
check.
to look it up.
Roll versus daddy issues.
I don't think you should have said that.
No, he's doing it to get fun.
Yeah.
He really loves his parents.
You sassing me? You sassing me?
I was saying that.
Come here,
to
let me get that sass
Baby
off your face.
Rai.
Pa!
Damn it, Arai, that boy.
So as he's sitting there and he, damn it, Arai, need some propane
Boy, ain't
and
right.
propane accessories.
Oh, dang, all the beholders and all the ruins and a bunch of heroes. Shoo, know what I'm saying, man?
So he sits there and he just goes, and then he disappears, and you feel this wave of heat as you take 5 points of fire damage, and he appears directly behind you.
Well, that was mean.
And then he takes a swing, gets 26 versus your AC.
Definitely hits.
Okay. And so he sits there, and instead of like thrusting into your back or just something like that, he nicks he nicks your hamstring on the back of your thigh, and then gets right on the underside of your tricep, and just these two very precision cuts that makes both of those muscle groups just work significantly less effectively. Not really
Damn.
doing like full damage or anything, but you now have disadvantage on checks that use either your left arm or your left leg. And then he
Right.
just kind of slowly wanders back, not outside of your range, but just at the edge of it. You know, if that's what you learned from me, gotta say, I must be a really bad teacher.
Not gonna lie, you kind of were. Mom was better.
What do you want to do?
What was the flashy that you are going to get when you're bigger?
Arai is going to just kind of go, okay, and he's going to attack.
Okay. You gonna rage or anything, or just straight up attack?
First, I'm gonna straight up attack. Hits
Okay.
me again on raging.
Okay.
16.
16. So as you bring your pike around to hit him without causing major damage, you don't want to kill the guy. He very kind of deftly just
Make
kind
a
of steps to
time
the side.
paradox.
Goes, wow, slow too. Impressive.
I mean, unlike you, I'm not trying to hurt you because I love you.
Anything else?
Yeah, Arai's gonna rage.
Okay. Go ahead and roll on your crazy rage table.
I think Relwyn's going to be not Rel. You know, that's another game. No, I said Relwyn. I was saying I was like, oh god, nosebleed. Smegwick sees that and goes like, uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Oops, hold on, wrong dice.
Bye.
Hello.
So you guys see the kind of familiar experience of Arai becoming very, very cold. You see his face become very determined, and you start seeing little bits of magic start to radiate off of him. And
So, whenever he hits me,
Mhm.
he gets counterattacked with a blast of ice.
okay,
So
you guys
1d6
actually
of
see
force
little
damage.
bits. You guys start seeing little bits of frost start appearing over Arai's skin. And Cedriel goes, and now he turns on, he starts using his blade song, and he starts kind of weaving around, and he thrusts forward to make an attack against you, which is a nat 1.
Arai parries.
So
He knows.
as he kind of thrusts towards you with a really, really bad attack. Like, you can see it and you realize, like, he's not even trying. And so to kind of encourage him as you parry, he kind of gets taken a little bit with it as part of the blade song, and you know where he's going to step next because you're familiar with his blade song. And you just kind of take the end of your pike and just pat him on the butt. He goes, really? And he instantly turns around, and there is this spray of acid, I want to say is what we're doing. No.
Rude.
He turns around and he swings his sword, and you see it engulfed in green flame. And this time it's a nat 20.
Oh no.
So, slash roll 2d8 plus 68, I think is green flame blade. There we go. How much damage? Yep, it's d8s. Oh, and that's actually... So
Math is hard, guys.
it is 4, so that's 8.
Especially
go.
when you crit.
Yeah.
So it's just 8d8. That's good. Cool. All right.
Stay in school, kids.
So as he... sorry about that, folks. As he kind of spins around... Hey, Toast. As he spins around and slashes, you see the green flame blade come, and as it impacts you, you get hit with 42 fire damage.
Ooh.
Rolled really good on a lot of those dice.
Yeah. And you see the area next to you, since there's nowhere for the extra damage to go, it just kind of goes... You see this big burst of flame. Is that better?
He takes 4 points of frost damage after he hits.
And then just as the fire damage happens, you watch as Arai just kind of slams the pike down and goes... Shh, and this blast of frost kind of hits him in the face, and he's like, oh, let's go! And he's ready to fight. But it's Arai's turn.
Smegwick says under his breath, oh god, this is where he gets it from.
Oh my god, it all makes sense now.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah,
15.
maybe.
Also attacking with my pike. No, wait, hold on. Just kidding. So I have to add math. 23.
23 actually does hit. As you...
My other shit should have hit too. I just forgot to do math.
Oh
Math is fun, folks.
It is.
As you bring the pike up, he puts his hand up, and this shimmering shield of energy appears and deflects the attack.
Their eyes just gonna look at him. Cheater.
no!
He looks at you, and he's offended by it, and he manually drops the shield spell.
Well,
So normally the shield spell would rest at the beginning of his next
Yeah.
turn, and he's just canceled it completely.
What is the beginning of his next turn?
Oh no, you still have another attack. You only made one.
Oh. Oh, that's right! Wrong character!
Hey guys, I found out. Apparently it runs in the family. Here's popcorn.
Oh yes, one. Oh yes, most
yes,
likely.
please. Aw.
24.
Mage
24,
hand.
24 definitely hits. Go ahead and roll the damage.
Alright.
No, baby, right? Babies can't have popcorn.
Baby Rise
Not till you're older.
No, he's giggling. He's having such a great time.
Hey, alright. If I poke your baby self in the cheek, would you feel it?
Alright, just kind of glances at you and looks back at bed.
You are barely thinking of twins.
This was like
10.
a comic book that I read once.
10 points of damage.
10 points of damage. So you get him, and he actually, like, you scrape against his armor, and you're actually able to cut into him a little bit, and he's like, really? And he starts kind of spinning around, and you see that he's actually going to cast a spell. I need to look at spells.
Miss Nindy, I think these two are feeding off of each other.
Yeah. Oh, this would be fun for him, sure. So you watch him start kind of conjuring, and you watch as frost starts to form on his skin, but it becomes even more so. It actually creates almost an armor. And you see this cold start radiating out from him as the investure of ice completely envelops him. He's like, go ahead. Use your little frost again.
Wasn't this
She
just
giving
supposed to
me
be a
the
simple
opportunity
duel?
to attack again.
Yeah, that's his. It takes an action to cast that spell. So.
Ah, okay, cool.
Do I recognize it?
Yeah, this spell is investiture of ice.
Ah, okay.
So he just looked. Wasn't this just supposed to be a simple duel?
I'm not sure if it.
Y'all are escalating.
Mm, I have
26?
I'm sure
It
you-
was
I'm-
a nat 20. Disadvantage.
I'm cheering Cedriel. Kick his butt, Cedriel.
26 is enough. So go ahead and roll damage. So you kind of spin around and you attempt to stab him with your pike, and he doesn't even seem to move out of the way. He just kind of takes the blow, kind of grunts as it pierces his skin a little bit, but the armor takes most of the brunt of the blow.
14.
14. He starts breathing a little bit heavier. Is it the best you can do? Come on, I must have taught you something useful.
19.
19 does not. And so as you come around with another pike attack, he just parries it away with his rapier that is now also encased in ice. Must be something else you can do.
Is he letting me attack again?
Yeah,
Or I
It's-
will attack again.
it's your turn, so he can't do anything until you're done. You're technically in initiative. There's just only 2 of you, so.
I know, but I've attacked twice.
Oh, that was your second attack? I thought there was only one.
No, that was 2, because he took 14 points of damage, and then 19 didn't hit.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So he looks at you, and he just extends his hand, and this cone of cold shoots out from it. And I need a con save.
25.
25. 25 definitely makes it. So halve this. 9 damage halved. As he kind of points at you with that, and you just kind of shake it off. All right. and
This is getting out of hand.
that was his action. So, come on, show me something impressive.
Back
Do
to
I
them.
see like collateral damage starting to happen?
Not really. I mean, the cold froze the ground a little bit. But again, they're far enough away, like they intentionally went far enough away that nothing that they're going to do is going to damage the camp or anything.
Okay.
And the Feywild is a lot harder to hurt than one might think. So, if you want to do something more than just
I do.
attacking,
I do, and I'm looking.
okay. Like, you can get creative. It doesn't even have to be like an ability
Right.
built into the character. If you want to kind of describe something like your dad would have taught you, we can come up with
Okay.
a dice roll
So-
that would work for that.
So I sort of imagined, like at one point, he taught Arai how to disrupt like a blade slinger's rhythm enough that it would like knock him off balance.
Okay.
So as they were fighting, so like some sort of leverage or something with his pike.
Sure.
Besides the disarming, enough to embarrass them. Eddie practiced a lot on his dad.
Okay. So, why don't you roll me a strength athletics check? Because I would assume your particular version of this uses your kind of inbound strength.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. 23.
23. Cool. He's going to try and agility his way out of it. Well, it's a close fight. So you sit there and you're getting more and more annoyed with this because you're not really doing a ton of damage to him, and he is just eviscerating you with his blade singing. And but you're watching kind of the rhythm as he's moving around you in this very melodic, rhythmic pattern, and you see right as you see this brief moment where he has to shift his weight between his feet. And when you were very, very young, and he was attempting to teach you the blade song, and you just weren't getting it, one of the things that always caused you the biggest amount of issue was when you shift your weight from one foot to the other. If you do it too quickly, you create an opportunity for someone to knock you over because your weight will be distributed entirely on one foot with the momentum pushing you off balance already. And so it takes a very small push to just knock someone off. And while your father is an extremely talented blade singer, there's always the briefest moment where while they're switching their weight off of one foot to another, if you know when to exploit it, you can. And so you're sitting there and you make an attack that you know is going to force him to shift his weight. And as soon as he gets to the point, you abandon the attack, plunge the pike into the ground, and just shoulder check him. And as you do, you hit him square in the gut, and you hear his lungs just empty as you hit him straight in the diaphragm, and it knocks him back only about 2 or 3 feet, but it breaks his blade song. And as he hits the ground, you've seen him get hit before and got hit back before. Normally what happens is as he falls, he'll take the roll on his shoulder or take it on his hip and immediately roll back up, and he just starfishes on the ground for a second. And he tries to kip himself up. And knowing that that's the very next thing he's going to do, you take your pike out and you swing right where you know his feet are going to land. And right as he kips up, lands on his feet, boom, the feet go out and he lands on his ass again.
Rai then
Baby Araya's just having a
cheering.
ball.
Yay! Can he take his pike and point the blunt end at his dad's face?
Mm-hmm.
Daddy, fall down!
Yay! Oh no, Siri, I wasn't talking to you. No problem.
So he looks there, and you can see, despite the fact that he's covered in ice, should probably make a concentration check off that. Okay. Despite the fact that he is covered in ice right now, you can see his face get a little bit flushed. You actually see little bits of steam coming off of it as the ice that is encasing his face is just barely starting to melt.
Rai is just expressionless, staring at him.
Okay. Let's see you do that again. And so he gets up, and this time he gets into a defensive stance, activates his blade song again, and this time it's a very different blade song stance. Again, it's one you recognize, but it's one that he uses significantly less often. It's a hyper defense focused stance. He doesn't make any attacks whatsoever. He's just sitting there, just kind of slowly swaying with an invisible beat. What do you want to do?
How roughed up does he look at this point?
He hasn't taken enough damage that he's really showing that much. Like, you can see where you pierced his armor a few times, but he's not even really bleeding that much.
Okay. Um. How far are we away from everyone?
Probably about 50, 60 feet.
Okay, dang.
Would you prefer it to be closer?
Yes, but it's okay that it's not. It's
Okay.
probably better that it's not.
Okay.
Dang. All right. Okay. So, Jax does not know how to deal with this because, like, I imagine Arai's first instinct would be to attack, but he probably hasn't sparred with this too often, or has he?
Sparring, he probably has used this on a few occasions, just to kind of put you in your place. And if he wanted to focus more on teaching you defense, this would be the stance that he would use. So,
Okay.
with the fact that Arai is a little bit more focused on offense, you probably didn't pay quite as much attention here, but you've seen this quite a few times before.
Okay. Can Arai mimic his defensive stance?
See, because the Blade Song, the defensive stance in and of itself is part of the Blade
Not
Song.
the movement, just the general position.
Sure, I mean it's basically he took the defend action while he was blade singing, so that's kind
Okay.
of what it was. So if you want to get into a defensive stance, you can. But again, the thing that makes this as strong as it is it's a defensive blade song, and you've never
Right.
been able to master the blade song. So
Right. Can I do a poor imitation of it?
sure, I'll let you do that. It'll be a performance check with
Okay.
disadvantage.
Okay. Yay for having high performance. Oh, yay for good rolls too. Sorry, hold on. My brain stopped mathing for a second. 23.
Wow.
A 17 and an 18.
So
Nice.
He thinks you're mocking him.
something you
This
used
is what you look like.
to something you used to do when you would start getting annoyed with training is, again, you were never able to master the blade song, even the kind of basics of the blade song. It wasn't your thing. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't make movements that were kind of similar to the blade song. It didn't have the same benefits,
Yeah.
but it looked kind of similar, and it annoyed your dad so much. Because again, he spent centuries of his life perfecting his blade song. And you would just sit there and go, woo, woo, and like you take your pike and you'd like stick it in the ground and like pole dance around. It's like, I could dance too, Daddy.
Not that bad. Right now.
But no, like you've done this kind of fake blade song before, and you know it infuriates him.
Can Arai also incorporate like his dad's little flare technique that he's using into
Sure.
it? Okay.
So now it's a personal insult. And
Now
you
you're
can
just being mean.
You can see, like, your dad starts seeing red. Like, you can tell you've pushed a button here. And he rushes forward. You see the green flame starting to envelop his sword as he rushes forward. Takes a swing with that. Gets a 26.
Ooh.
It's not a crit, so that's nicer. Oops, I put a space in there. 11 points of fire damage as he goes forward. And kind of burns you with the blade. He comes around, and you can see he's going for kind of a maiming strike. Like he's going to attempt to remove your ability to wield your pike. So because of that, he's going to roll with disadvantage.
Is it gonna assist me at all that I'm in a defensive stance? I'm mocking him, but I'm still in a defensive
Well,
stance.
technically, defend means I got to re-roll the attack I just made, because when you're defending, all attacks against you have disadvantage. And I didn't, so... Yeah, so that one worked. And then 18 is the low for the second attack. Okay. So he goes forward and he just pierces your bicep with his rapier, and he kind of brings it around to deliver a finishing blow, and suddenly an arrow lands right in front of him.
After he takes 5 points of damage.
He's immune to cold damage. That's what Investigator Vice says.
It's force damage.
Oh, it's force.
It's not,
Never mind.
Yes, it's force damage.
Cool. So yeah, he kind of gets...
It's just a flare.
He kind of gets blasted by it and then hits the ground in between you two, and he kind of is taken out of his death trance, is the best term for it. And Nindy goes, well, that was very educational, wasn't it? I think you should thank him for teaching you about that flaw in your blade song, dear. And you can see him kind of fuming for a little bit. Shakes his head, the ice just kind of fades away, and he reaches down his hand towards you.
I was on the floor?
Well, you're hurt. He reaches his hand out to kind of gesture you to go with him, because he stabbed you a couple times.
Oh. I'm gonna say Araya at this point is just kind of leaning on his pike, like smirking.
I imagine it's like you're both hurt, but neither one of you wants to admit to the other that you're hurt. So you're like,
Yep.
They're both sending us.
So he kind of walks back over, and he's still fuming. And Nindy, you see Nindy starts walking towards both of you, and she immediately goes to you, and again casts Cure Wounds at level 4. So slash roll.
Thanks, Mom.
Are we using 5.5 rules for that?
Yeah, because it's otherwise it sucks.
Yeah.
So 37
I know.
points of healing.
Nice.
the healing spells are better. 5.5.
Much better.
And your father, whose name has escaped me already,
Cedriel.
Cedriel looks at her and kind of gives her this look of, "Excuse me, I'm hurt too." And she just goes, "Well," and she kind of takes you by the hand and leads you back to the camp, leaving Cedriel just sitting there going, "Fine, I'll bind my own wounds."
As she, after she heals Arai and starts leading him back, he's just gonna, pat her hand and use bolstering magic to give her a spell slot back.
Okay. So she sits you down and goes, "So, that was a very interesting fighting style you used there. And you're saying that we taught you how to do that?"
I sort of wasn't a very good blade singer, and the bow really wasn't for me, so one of the people that we had traveled with was pretty good with polearms, and kind of took to it. So a lot of what I can do is with my pike is I learned from sparring with Dad. Cedriel. Wait. Yes.
Interesting. And she kind of looks into your eyes, and you start to feel that feeling when, like, your mother's just, like, staring into you. And you just get that feeling like you're instantly transported back to being, like, 7 years old, and you're trying to hide something from your mother, and it's not working. And she just kind of looks at you, and she knows. And suddenly you see her kind of entire expression change, because up to this point she seemed to be more like amused by this whole thing. Like, it was funny to watch her husband, who's very, very competent, get thrown on his ass by some kid. Like, that was funny, and it took him down a peg, and that was fine. But you watch as her entire expression changes, and she goes, "All right,
Mom,
you have your father's nose. I thought
you're
you would
good
grow out of it."
no.
And an hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, who had an hour 13 or hour 10, hour 15, whoever's closer, they got that in the pool.
Yep.
And she just gives you this big hug.
Aww.
Mom,
And
you haven't changed. You're
Oh,
just
now
as
that's
beautiful.
just sugary right there.
and Cedriel still looks, he's like, "Nindy, how could you believe this nonsense? I mean, there's no possible way." And Nindy just looks at him. No words are expressed. She just looks at him. "Okay, he's our son.
Oh, I know that look.
Oh boy.
So what are we supposed to do now? Like, I have a son. And
Now you have two of the same
yeah, I
son.
don't need two. I barely can handle one.
Same.
Why are you all here?"
You get better.
Wow.
And
We don't know.
Nindy kind of gets him to sit down, gives him another kind of bowl of that mushroom and root vegetable stew. "I think what your father's trying to say is there's a reason that time magic in general has been outlawed, not just in the Verdant Empire, but every sufficiently magical society tends to outlaw it. Bad things can happen."
Yeah.
Did they have a chance to look at, or did Nindy have a chance to look at the artifact that brought us back?
I put it on the table.
Thus far, she's just been watching you spar. So she hasn't even attempted to look at it yet.
Okay. Mom, can you see if you recognize anything from the artifact that brought us here?
So I can try. It's not really my expertise. I mean, your father, especially with magic items in general, your father's going to be slightly more knowledgeable. Cedriel, stop pouting and get over here.
Her eyes still hugging Mom.
And Cedriel comes over. It's like, "So what do you make of this?" He's like, he starts looking through it. And he's like, and a couple minutes, it's just him kind of poking and prodding and looking at various other things. And then suddenly he watches his expression changes. Oh.
I was theorizing that maybe this, if it brought us here, maybe this might be something your people know about. Like, maybe this device might be from your origin.
Oh, it is. This isn't the first time I've seen this.
Well, don't leave us in suspense.
This is why he's a great storyteller.
Oh, it's just the long ass pausing he takes.
Shh. Wait. It gets better.
first ruin I ever found myself in. It's where I lost my best friend. He didn't get out of the ruin fast enough. The reason why is he found this. And the only thing he said to me is that this would change everything. And he turns to look at you. How in the hell did you find this in the Tempest Sovereignty?
That's what we'd like to know.
It
It's our
kind of-
friend. We thought maybe she'll be able to tell us more.
Yeah, Esmiel acquired it.
It
Don't
kind
know
of
where
found
she got
us.
it.
So really, the one person we should be asking is them once they recover.
Nindy, I need you to get her awake. Well, she's very, very... Doesn't matter. She needs to be awake now.
Ooh.
Is
Okay.
she capable of being awoken? She was pretty messed up.
Much
So,
less talking after awakening.
Nindy heads into the tent. But unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for today.
Nah.
As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/JojoTrainerJody. Otherwise, again, that is all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.
Bye.